Well, what's up, everybody? It's Noah here. Thank you for jumping back onto the channel. And today I have a really, really special guest with me. It's Chris Mersch, aka Master Shredder of Guitar, Master Shredder of Vocals, also known as I and the Lad. So grateful you've come and hung out with me today, man.
Absolutely. I love coming over here, man. It's a fun place.
Yeah.
You're a fun guy.
And so Chris and I have been like pretty good friends for the past couple of years. We met through the music scene. We were both in like two totally different types of bands. Sure. And but as I got to know Chris, we just had like some really like cool common interests. And I don't even remember our first conversation or anything, but I just remember like
probably music related.
Yeah, but I just remember like connecting with you
for sure.
Really instantaneous. Do you remember like much of how we had met?
I'm pretty sure it was at the Upper Room. Am I
in
wrong?
Statesville. Yeah,
okay,
I'm
pretty sure it was at the Upper Room.
Yeah.
I think I was playing with the worshiper.
Yeah.
I remember Wes, our guitarist at the time, like loved you so much and was talking about you. And I'm pretty sure we went to like a Sheetz.
Yeah.
We ate food at like Sheetz afterwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really liked you, man, from day one. I loved your music. You remind me actually of a really, really good friend of mine. Anyway, you're just a lovable dude, man, and just a fun guy. So yeah, we clicked really fast, and it's been years now. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's cool because I think we went and ate at the Sheetz. I ended up I got like buffalo chicken bites, and I was on the toilet.
Oh no!
It was terrible. It was terrible. But it was the Castle No King show, wasn't it?
Oh wow! It probably
I think
was.
Yeah,
man.
and Seth and them,
dude,
bro. Rest in peace to Castle No Kings. I was a big fan of them.
They were one of my favorite non-famous bands. They were working their way up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But as far as playing show, man, just
Shout
playing
out
shows
to
with a random band. Yeah, Castle No Kings, man. We love you guys.
Yeah, they were the bomb, man.
They're awesome.
I think that was cool. So for you, just to backtrack even more, what was a big thing that got you into music and got you into songwriting? Growing up, was there a particular moment, or were you just kind of like raised in like, oh man, I really love music, or what was that like for you?
So I actually have like an older brother. He's like 6.5 years older than me, and he could play like any instrument, like known to man. So that I grew up in a household like that, and so I always looked up to that, but I was scared to try instruments. But from a very young age, I found some like a safe place in music. And different bands like Green Day and like Linkin Park. You know, I was this like punk third grader.
Yeah.
But man, just Green Day, Linkin Park, Simple Plan, all that stuff. And I remember I was so into music, I would tell people that I could play guitar even though I couldn't, because I wanted to be known for that.
Yeah.
And I have a twin brother as well. And actually it was like middle school, maybe we just got really into like Guitar Hero. And we played that like hardcore for like 2 years, and eventually we were playing it with so many friends. We're like, why don't we just try real instruments?
Yeah.
So it was like Christmas one year, we all got instruments, and we just learned how to play together, and
that's awesome.
Joined our first band together, and we're a band for almost 4 years, man, and it was really cool. So
a
couple different things, but
I'll still utilize Guitar Hero now. It's like hey, bet you can't beat me in this. And so we have
fun, man.
Many parties coming over, having a bunch of people, and then like crushing everybody in Guitar Hero.
Yes.
So
you had to be like the king of Guitar Hero. Or you mean, who were you? You know, I mean, like,
I'm very reverse hipster. I play things after they're popular, and so I'm still playing it now.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So, and as like you mentioned, like you played with the worshiper, and then there was local bands that you were playing with before then, correct?
Yeah.
And then some stuff afterwards, and then now with I and the Lad, like you've done like quite a bit of like traveling and seeing new places and doing music. With COVID currently, what's that been like? Of like, well, now I can't play shows, and so like, what's that been like for you?
Yeah, it's been hard, especially because I just released my new album, and it's like I haven't been able to play any shows. I had to cancel. Maybe I wasn't too like lined up with shows, but I had like 3 or 4 shows lined up for the release, and had to push them back till God knows when. But I've just been focusing on like social media aspect of it, which in this day and age is almost even more important. Just building a fan base online, building an image, and marketing that way. So I've just been focusing on that, building connections with people, relationships. and I got some merch and CDs coming on the way. So I'm just waiting for that to come in, start pushing that. But yeah, and dude, just going for the TikTok famous stuff, you know, and even it's probably about to get banned, but whatever. Just plugging in wherever I can, you know, and good. It's been a humbling time, but you know, it's okay. It's been good. It's been good.
For sure. And I know you've been doing some more like radio interviews and stuff too, and so I know that's a challenge too, because those normally help like boost and elevate some show opportunities, and so
yeah, for sure.
I know that can be a challenge. But with that too, you mentioned your new album Pieces, and so explain explain a little bit of the backstory, like putting that album together and what that looked like over the past. I guess it's been a little over a year or so putting that album together.
So, yeah, most of the songs I wrote like within like a year or so of going out to record it. Some of them I had the songs ready and like could have put them on my last album, but kind of held them off. But I think it's honestly a lot like my first album as far as like topics. I'm a big relational person, whether that's with friends or God. So a lot of my influence for songwriting just comes from my relationships. And just struggles within that sometimes, you know. So that's about the gist of it, man. I sing about people I'm close to, and I sing about God, and I sing about my struggles. So, and of course, like this past year's just been like a doozy. So, a lot of different emotion. I just put emotion into my songs, I guess, and let it come, I guess.
So normally whenever you sit down to write a song, do you have a typical formula of like you want to have the chord structured, or you have a lyric in your head and you build off of that, or is it kind of like just depends, or like what's that format normally for you?
I would say like 9 times out of 10 for me, like the guitar comes first. Sometimes, especially like when I'm like busy at work or something, and like something will come to my head, and it's like I just have to keep singing it over and over in my head because I don't have time to write it down. So sometimes the lyrics come first, but I would say 9 times out of 10, man, I just sit down. I love just sitting in different environments. I bring a guitar with me like everywhere, or like a ukulele or something. I always keep an instrument in my car because different environments allow for me to write different things, because you never know, I guess, what will come to you. So again, I just sit down and I just start fiddling around. And if I get like a chord progression I like, or like a riff I like, I start there and I let like the feeling those sounds give me like form lyrics, if that makes sense.
Totally.
And then once I got a riff or, you know, some chords and like a topic, I guess, so to sing about, I just build off that. I just find the scale on the guitar and just, you know, let the different sounds perform different or make different thoughts and lyrics and stuff like that.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And so you mentioned even with your first album, like you had some like songs that could have been on there, but either just weren't ready fully or fully developed. What do you think has been your biggest growing point? Like, how have you grown as a songwriter? How have you grown as a person since your first album, Nice Things, to now Pieces?
Very cool. I think one of the biggest ways I grew was just like in the recording process, because my last album was like my first big real project. And there was this, man, I was so scared, you know. It was exciting, but I was just like, and I record in Canada. Like I'll drive 15 hours to get to it, and I'll stay 2 weeks with my friend, and it's like the time we have there is all we have because I have to come back. So the first record, I think I went into it, you know, pretty scary because I've never been comfortable with the recording process. It's just like I hate it, you know. But this has helped me not to hate it so much.
For sure.
So I think this time, like preparing for this album, I was able to write more confidently. And go into it more confidently, knowing that the songs I bring in there are gonna sound better, you know, than I could even imagine, you know. So my song, because I don't know if people have told me, I guess from my second album, they feel like I've grown, like as an artist. I feel the same, just because I don't know. I guess we're always constantly growing, I guess, as an artist anyway. And it's hard to see that yourself when it's like, man, you write music almost every day of your life. It's sometimes hard to see all the growth. But yeah, I feel like the most growth has come from just like being just the confidence in songwriting and confidence in recording.
I love that. And so I love how you talk about like developing that confidence, and you just, I mean, it's always just a growing point. And I remember the first time I sat down and listened to Nice Things whenever you released the single and then eventually the rest of the album. I remember whenever I was previously in a band where we had met, and I remember we had played shows with various genres of people from way different backgrounds, having different perspectives, and in that there was only like maybe 3 or 4 that we were like, yo, they've got it. Like, I remember looking at my brother and being like, yo, Chris is like, he's doing something, and like there's something going on with him that's not the usual, because we're talking about like close to 50 to 60 bands that we had played with, and out of those people there's only 3 or 4 that were like, yo, they're going somewhere with their life.
Thanks, man.
And you were definitely one of those people.
Thanks,
I think the songwriting, like how excellent and articulate it is with the production and all the little elements in it is like so next level compared to just like local band status. Like it's like actually musician, like actually songwriter.
Thanks,
so
man.
it was really cool. And I think for this album it does the same thing. Like there's just some really great elements, and there was even some things where I noticed from pieces compared to Nice Things that you were even like stretching yourself on. Like one of them was the song that I love the most off of it was Mountain Man. And so I'm a big fan of that one, because there's some things practically that you're doing, like having really fast verses of like lyrical cadences and stuff, and as well as just the content in that. Like you talk about in Mountain Man, like your struggle with just like faith and not like you being a follower of Jesus. Like there was some tension, and I know that you talk about like you can hear in the lyrics some tensions with people, and then just kind of like that being a conflict with your relationship with God, and ultimately you're turning to God and just talking to him about some stuff. And so for that, as you're growing and maturing and just getting older in general, like what have you found your biggest struggles in the faith have been, and then where it's led you to now?
Nice. First off, thank you, man. That was like an awesome compliment, man. Like, I really appreciate you, man. Mountain Man is actually also my favorite song on the record, and I love to play it, but it is hard to play because none of the lyrics repeat themselves. So it's just like, it just keeps going. I'm like, did I say those lyrics already? Is that the right verse? But yeah, the song is just really close to my heart because it speaks on just the topic of like religious struggles, man. As far as that like concerns with my faith and where I got the lyrics for the song, you picked up on a lot of good things, but yeah, I think it was just the struggle of having so much expectation from churches and leaders, like just to be like perfect. Yeah. Especially going through like a ministry school. I did 3.5 years at a ministry school. Right. And, there was just like, and oftentimes it wasn't even the teachers pushing it on you, but it was just like the atmosphere of being, going after something so important. There was such a high standard, and I was like, man, I am not strong enough to keep up this standard. And just having a lot of personal struggles because I wasn't raised, I was raised in church, but I wasn't raised in like a healthy church environment, if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense.
It's just years of pain and struggles and misunderstandings. And just struggling with like father figures. So that makes it hard sometimes to like relate to God. But it's just keeping that faith based off like the experiences I've had, the personal experience of tasting and seeing, God said, or Jesus, taste and see that I am good. So it's just like, I've tasted and I've seen that you're good. Yeah. So I'm going to keep my faith, but man, it's hard, when everything's telling you to give up or everything is just crumbling around you. It's hard sometimes, but it's just, you just got to keep going, There's so many different scriptures on that, like a righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets back up, or, just keeping persistence. So
yeah, I love that. And I think people especially in the North Carolina music scene, will be able to relate to that, because I think there's people who connect with your music or who have gone to shows, like whenever previous with the worshiper or with you currently, like that either have or had that like strong faith background, and then some things happen and it like completely tore it apart. And so I think there's people in our music scene right now who either they question God's actions or they question his existence.
Definitely.
Because of how people have responded. People of faith have responded to just anything, like fill in the blank. There's so many things. And so I think that it's a really encouraging thing to be able to hear you talking about that, because people are going to connect with that. I mean, there's people in the music scene who come to my mind that I think of whenever you mention that can resonate with that. And so I think that there's a big impact there to be able to say that, hey, like people were shaking my faith because of where I was at. And then for you, like where you've been at in writing this song, and being able to say that God, I still believe and I still trust in you. Like it's a huge thing. Lastly, just for this project as a whole, what's your biggest hope, and like what's the biggest thing you want people to take away from whenever they listen to the album pieces?
Very cool, man. That's a really good question, man. It's hard to answer that. It's humbling to hear that, because it's like, man, a lot of times when you release something, like you want the listeners to connect to it, but it's like so much hard work. You just want it to, like, sometimes pay off, personally for yourself. But I think one of my main goals with music forever has just been people having something to like rest in, to relate to. Because music is like really what got me through high school and a lot of hard times, because, just struggling with different things and not knowing the Lord. And so I've tried to just recreate that, just giving someone an album that helps them get through a tough time, or wherever they're at in life, where they can look back, like, or when they listen to that album brings them back to that specific time. So I just try to be real and honest, man, on my music. And sometimes, or in a lot of different like radio music, you don't, it's just like music is all about like the flash and the lights and like the glamour and all that stuff. But I try to just, bring it back down to earth and just give someone a record that they can find some like solace in, find some peace in, and relate to with whatever they are struggling with. So
that's so good. And I think that you're gonna see, I mean, even like Spotify and all these platforms, like being able to have people around you that are elevating it. Like I definitely believe you're just gonna keep going further and further and further. Thanks, and so this project, I think, will be, you'll see a ton out of it. Like I believe it. Like outside looking in, like I definitely believe that you're going to see a lot of results from it. And not that you do things necessarily to like build the biggest amount of results or like try and earn like thousands and thousands. I mean, that would be a goal. Like it'd be a good thing.
Sure.
But,
if I can live off my music, amen.
Perfect,
like nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. But in that, like, I think you're going to see a lot of connection with people more than ever. And so
very cool.
Very grateful to just like, for you to even be here just to talk and to talk to the people on the channel. And but ultimately, like, I'm grateful to have you as a friend. I'm grateful to know you personally. And so I'm pumped for you. Like I'm really excited for you, man. And so let the people know where they can get in touch with you, where they can get a hold of you, social media wise, and what you have coming up, and any final words that you'd like to close out with.
Absolutely. Sweet. So thanks for listening, guys. Noah's the man. If you want to get in contact with me, pretty simple guy. I have Facebook, Chris Mersch. I'm really active on Instagram. It's one of my favorite apps. Might have to put my name down on the bottom. It's Mersch and More.
Put it in the description.
Yeah, Mersch and More. And then I also have a band page, I.and the Lad. I'm also on TikTok, but I don't remember. Oh, my TikTok name is also I'm the Lad. So those are just ways to get in contact with me. If you send me an email, I probably won't see it. But anyway, thanks for listening, guys. I know the world's in a crazy place right now, but if I have, just one thing to offer, it's just personal relationship with Jesus, honestly. That's where I pull a lot of my music inspiration from, and it's where I find peace and determination and strength. And just having something solid to lean on in these unstable times. But anyway, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, for sure. So grateful to have you. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.
If you could now just lend your hand to mine, I'll buy that ring, I'll bend my